Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the Benjamin article, um, which is titled On the Concept of History by William Benjamin. So there's, in each section, it's like a part for each one. And there's like kind of an idea that coexists throughout it all, which has to do with obviously history, but also how the past is basically what we talk about, but we don't really talk about the present. I believe that's what Benjamin is saying. And a lot of what he says is through what he calls an historical materialist. And what I believe a historical materialist does is he's the writer of history, and why I believe that is through like some evidence. So, for example, on page 4 in um, part 7, he says, he asks, with whom does the historical writer of historicism actually empathize? The answer is irrefutably the victor. And that was kind of something that obviously I've heard before too, which is that, the one who tells the history is the one who won the war, or the one who has the power. And I think that is what Benjamin is saying. And also, it seems as though what the victor is the one who is also hiding the secrets of what they don't want you to know. As it said on part 2, page 2, the past carries a secret index with it, by which it's referred to its resurrection. So I think that what Benjamin means is that it has a secret index because not everyone knows what it means. That it's told by people that want you to know what they know and want you to think what they think. I guess it was kind of weird the way that it was organized. I saw that like there was one idea for each, and it was almost as if it built on an idea, each one, and then it took a concept from the previous part and took that idea further. But I think that I would need to be more knowledgeable on what exactly was going on in the period that Benjamin wrote it. It said that it was written in 1974, but Benjamin talks a lot about fascism, and then in his addendum he talks about how the Jews couldn't see the future, but ended up being able to. So there was a lot of me struggling to understand exactly what was going on, but I think that it was interesting some of the things he said, like on page 8 in part 14, he says, history is the object of construction whose place is formed not in homogeneous and empty time, but in that which is fulfilled by the here and now. So I guess, like, I'm kind of confused by a lot of what's going on in this article. And I think that he kind of talks in riddles, and I don't know if that has a lot to do with the translation, that this is obviously from German to English, the translation, or if he just talked in riddles in German. So that was something that I was kind of having a hard time understanding what exactly his point was with what he was saying. But the overall gist that I got was that the past is what builds on, and there's so much more of the past than there is of the present or the future that we see, and that also the people who are in charge of the history are the people that are the victors. He also says on page 5, or this is page 5, part 7, that he, meaning the historical materialist, regards it being the past as his task to brush history against the grain. So again, I think that means that the past is up to interpretation by the victors. Um, but I guess I had a few questions about exactly what historicism was and what a historical materialist did. It felt like they gave a description. It was like almost like a job description given. So that was really one of my questions was about that. And also another question is why does Benjamin emphasize so much about fascism and communism because he talks about Marx as well. So those are just a few questions I had about the reading as well as just why he was speaking in riddles. But yeah.